Hello and welcome to Hacks for Artists. I'm Terry Denson and I'm going to try and entertain you and educate you a little bit today. Each one of these Hacks for Artists videos, we're going to do 5 new techniques or tricks or just little bits of information that might be of help to you. Don't want to overload you, so we'll just limit to 5 and keep it short. Today we're going to talk about 2 different kinds of paints, titanium white and lunar black, and then a few other tricks that you might want to adopt yourself in your painting career. Now, let's start with titanium white. Titanium white is actually made in watercolor. This one is from Daniel Smith. Not every one of the paint brands carries a titanium white. Most carry a Chinese white, but that's not quite as opaque. When you mix it with any paint, you get yourself a great opaque paint. In fact, there are a lot of paints out there you might use. There's Coastal Fog, or Buff Titanium, the same thing. Mint Julep, Lavender, Shell Pink, Green Melon, Composed Blue, Composed Green. They all have one thing in common, besides being opaque. They all have titanium white in them, combined with some sort of a transparent watercolor. These are colors that you can mix yourself without going out and buying some of these really great colors. So let's start with the first one, Composed Blue. Several of the paint manufacturers have a composed blue. This one happens to be by Mission. Holbein has one too that's bluer, not quite as green as this one. And the reason for that, this Mission is made out of titanium white, phthalo green, and phthalo blue. There is no phthalo green in the Holbein one, so you can mix whatever you want. We have 2 down here, American Journey's Mint Julep and Holbein and Mission's Green Melon, that both use the same 3 colors, but in different proportions. So let's start with those 2. And then we have at the bottom Naples Yellow, which you can make quite easily. Mint Julep by Cheap Joe is a mixture of phthalo green, and a yellow. I happen to have used here a Rollan. There are several that would work for it, but you could probably match up the colors pretty well. I might have needed a touch more yellow in this one. You can't see it. Let me move this over here. If we put a touch more yellow in that, then we're coming closer to Mission's. Maybe even more yellow. That's pretty close though. Oops. Now, Naples Yellow is one of the easiest ones to duplicate. There are 3 or 4 different kinds of yellows that will work quite well with it. I happen to have used New Gamboge. It generally needs a warmer yellow. Stay away from the transparent and maybe even the Rollan. Let's see. White. You can adjust the amount of white paint you use yourself to determine how opaque you want it. Now, in general, I prefer transparent paints, but there are occasions when only something mixed with titanium white will work. I was trying to paint the shutters on some houses, the pictures I'd taken of houses throughout France. And I think everybody used one of two colors, a chalk blue and a chalk green. And the only way I could even come close was to add titanium white to it. Now there's a shell. Oops. Let me clean these off a little bit. One color that I use a lot of is buff titanium. In American Journey, that's known as coastal fog. And that is just your white titanium with a touch of a brown in it. You can shade that brown any way you want. It's a grayish brown generally, but you could probably go a bit warmer if you wanted. But this is pretty close too. Coastal fog. Now we have a green melon up here composed blue up here that is nothing more than phthalo blue, phthalo green, a little of each. And a lot of titanium white. Put a touch more green in that. I think you'll find when you start playing with these that it's hard to paint and talk at the same time, I know. The titanium white paint, a little too much green, will actually overpower the other colors, which is kind of interesting. If you were painting in oils or something, they would call this a tint. Now, if you decided you wanted to make your own and you wanted an opaque paint, I don't know why, perhaps for a mountain range or something in the distance, you might want to take something like just a touch of blue, a touch of cobalt mixed together, and a lot of white. Play with it. You can mix it with almost any transparent paint, and you'll actually get something pretty nice. Let's try it with a little opera here. One other paint I'd like to show you is Lunar Black. Daniel Smith makes it, and they also make several, They also make several lunar colors. Lunar Earth and Lunar Red Rock don't have Lunar Black in it, but they do make two other colors. One is Lunar Blue, right here, and the other is Lunar Violet, which is a mixture of ultramarine violet, which is a not too strong, somewhat neutralized purple. A soft earth color, obviously. If you wanted yours a little bluer, like this one is, it's a little bit brighter. But if you look at this closely, and I'll try to zoom in on it, what you'll see is it's a heavily granulating paint mixture. And the blue gives most of it the color, but the black itself will sink out. Okay, now let's see if we can make an interesting color out of it. I bet that would look good mixed with purple. Too black. Don't want to throw too much at you at one time, but in one of our next videos, we'll go over ways that you can determine what colors are used in paint, try to match them up against other brands. Oh, that's not too bad. But see how it granulates out? Now, here's a couple of other quick little things for you. These are watercolor crayons. This is a very cheap little nutmeg grater. They sell some little graters like this for $2 and something at Walmart, I've seen. All you need to do is wet just where you want some grated color to fall. And that's all, the only place where you'll get color on it. So if you go out over the edge, that's no big deal. Only where it's wet will it stick, and we'll blow it off afterwards. Just when it's dry, just brush it off. Let's throw maybe some bright yellow in it. So if you have a boring section on a leaf, or you want to speckle some color through some sand or something like that, this works very well. Hang on to that little trick. We've got two more quick things for you. The first is you need to become a collector. Have you ever bought a tube of paint and then had the top break on you? Or had the paint dry up inside? Well, it's probable that the cap may have broken right around here. One of the major paint brands had that problem for a couple of years. So what you can do is just, when you empty up a tube of paint, save the cap on it so that you have at least one cap from each size and brand of paint that you might have in your painting repertoire. And one other thing, you need to empty some paint. You're way down here, the very last of the paint, and there's still some in there. Get yourself a small pair of needle nose pliers. And you can squeeze out the very last of that paint. The last of this tube of French ultramarine blue. Don't believe in wasting anything, especially paint. Then when you throw it out, save the cap. And here's a freebie to give you your 6th one for today. Every now and then, you need to take all your little paints and line them up on the sink and scrub the threads. Get all that gunked up paint off of them. The reason for doing this is now the cap will seal tightly and you'll have less chance of paint drying out. Get them good and clean, and clean out the insides of the cap as well. So that's it for this first episode of Hacks for Artists. I hope you enjoy it. If you've got some suggestions, let us know. If you like the series and the other videos that we have available here on this channel, then please hit the subscribe button in the corner of the image. And if you hit the little ring button, you'll get notices when we put up anytime we put up a new video. So thank you, and we'll see you again soon.